Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture. This lecture we are focused on chapter 2a, okay, and this chapter is focused on the account receivable module from Sage 50 2021 edition. So we are going to be sticking with the basics of account receivable, and if you have been following the previous lectures, so what we have done is we have done setting up the company from scratch as well, and then in chapter 1 we actually understand the company module, what we need to do in regards to journal entries. Now what we're doing in this chapter is we're starting a new module. We are looking at the receivable module and understand how do we record transactions and maintain the record in this particular module. So to complete chapter 2, we do need a database file. So what we're doing is we're working with the company called Centers Luggage. And if you wanted to work on this file, what you have to do is you have to have a database file. So either you can download the database file from the TopHead platform that where you're using the e-test book, or if your instructor has provided you the file in a different settings in a different format, you can do that as well. But you do need a database file to do this chapter. Okay, so if you're on the TopHead platform, you will have the database file provided to you. So what you do is you can simply click on this particular link which says luggage and then click download file. Okay, now I click on download. It gives me that warning saying, do you want to keep this file? We can say keep, and I have to do the again, say keep anyways. Because the .exe file system, if you have a proper security system, it will block this file. So now I'm going to locate this file. It's already saved on my desktop, on my download folder. So once I find this file, and I need to double click. When I double click, it's going to extract this database into a particular folder. So depending on where you're saving all the files, you need to save this file in the same place as well. In my first lecture, I told you that we are going to create a separate folder on the C drive where you keep all the files. So you can come right here and click on the C drive where I ask you to create a folder. And over here, this is a chapter database. So we'll put it in the chapter database file and we'll press OK and then click unzip. Now it's going to unzip this file in that folder. And done and close. Now we're ready to open the file. So now to open the file, you always go into Start Program and look for Sage 50 2021 edition or 2021 version of the software. Again, you cannot complete this course without having a Sage 50 installed. So you definitely want to have Sage 50 installed on your computer as well. Okay, so you have the Sage 50 installed. So now when you open the Sage 50, it's going to ask you the file. So you click on select existing company and you press OK. And we're going to locate the file that was saved. And it's asking me the location. So I need to find the location of that file right here. And the location is on the C drive, and we created this folder, and over here we say chapter database file and then click number 4, not number 4, actually number 2, luggage, and click open. And once you click open, it's going to take you into this file, and it will have everything that you need to get started with chapter 2. And by default, it's going to give you the session date that was in the system, which is February 28, 2022. And there is your file. And now you ready to start entering the transactions. So now, what are we covering in chapter 2? So I'm going to brief you guys with the chapter, then I'm not going to, again, this is a something that I want to put a disclaimer to. I'm not completing the entire chapter on this video. I'm simply telling you the basics as what need to be covered in the chapter, and I'll make up my examples and show you how to do those. But for you to do the complete chapter, you have to go to the textbook and do all the exercises that are assigned in this chapter. So if you look at the chapter 2, you have all the exercises starting from 2A1 all the way to 2A23. So you need to do all these transactions to cover up everything that need to be covered in this particular chapter. So the key part that you need to understand from this chapter is we are working on the receiver module. So we understand how to pull up the different reports. Then we'll get in to display the different reports, get into look at the sales journals, how we can modify the sales journal, look at how to record transactions such as sales codes, sales order, recording sales invoice, sales return, and a cash receipt. Okay, so those are the major part, and then we also look at how do we create, how do we modify or delete an entry as well. So that's something that we'll do at the very end. So how does this software look? You have seen the software already. So in this chapter, we focus on the receiver module. So the receiver module, you click on the receivable and you see all the different features that you have available in this particular chapter. So this is where you find all the customers. So if you want to view the customers, you can see it on the side here as well. But if you want to say view customers, you can click on it. It will take you to a customer window and see all the customers in the list as well. This is a small file. We don't have much customer. You can see them right here as well. So if you want to edit any customer, you can click on this arrow and say edit or view. You can click view, and when you click on view, you can make changes if you want to make any changes to a customer. Okay, and shows the balance outstanding as well, so you don't have to see, you show up the transactions here and the ending balances. So what do we do? So before we get into it, what first we want to do is we want to pull up some reports. So if you want to pull up the customer reports, you can, there's different ways you can pull up the reports. I always find using the menu bar at the top is more easier. You click on the reports and you click on the receivables, and this is where all the reports that you have that's focused on the account receivable. You want to see who owes you the money and which invoices. You can click on the customer age report, and it will list you all the customers who owe you the money as of February 28th. You can click on the detail, shows you the detail for every invoice that's outstanding and when is it due. And this is how your report look like. You can pull up the sales or any other reports that you want. They're all here. Okay, so we don't have any transactions entered, so there's no point of pulling any of the reports. If you want to see which inventory you have and how much we have, we can look at the inventory and look at the summary report and say, okay, show me the transactions, what I have, and this will give me the inventory list. Why do I need to know inventory list? If you want to sell something, you want to know if you have that in stock. So this is where you can find that out. Say, okay, briefcase, I have 43, regular, white 40, and all that information is right here. Okay, then what else we need to know? So this is how you can pull the reports. The next thing we want to know is how do we customize a sales journal? Okay, so if we go into a sales invoice and say I want to create a new invoice, you can create a new invoice. By default, this is how a sales journal look like. And if you want to make any changes to this journal, you have a custom journal icon right here. And this is the same thing applicable for if it's a sales invoice, sales order, or sales code. If you don't like to see any of these things, you can customize and delete or add the columns. For example, in this course, we don't take care of delivery. We don't need to have this tab. So I can click on this custom icon, custom journal. It will show me which columns they are there. And if you don't want to see any particular column, you can just uncheck it. Say quantity on delivery. If you don't want to see it, you can click on it and that will disappear. You don't want to see a project, you can click on it. What else? The rest we want to see it, and we press, see here, tabbing orders. So if I don't want to do that, we can do that as well. We won't get into it. So press OK. Now those things disappeared. Okay. Anything that you don't want to see, you can always check. Anything you want to see, you can uncheck. Okay, and it will show up. And then if you want to change the width of any of the columns, you can do that by clicking on the arrow as well. Okay, and if you change anything, it will remember that for the next transaction. So now I can simply close, and that's done. Okay, that's how you get customer sales order, sales invoice, and the sales code. Okay, so that was your exercise 2.4 2A4. This is 2A5. So again, we have to read through the exercise. There is a lot of information that's explained there as well. So I want to make sure you go through that. So now what I want you to do is, in this chapter 2A, we are mostly focused on the account receivable basics. Okay, when I say basics, we are talking about the transactions that happens on a daily basis. So what kind of transactions that could happen in account receivable? You have customer calling you and asking you for the sales code before they want to place an order. So that's something that you record right here. So think about the cycle for account receivable. It's always start from the sales code. Once you send a sales code to somebody, if they like the price, they will place an order. That is your sales order. Okay. Once they place an order, then it goes to a delivery. Okay. We don't track delivery, so we can skip this module. That's not applicable until you get a service from them, from Sage. And after the sales order has been placed, you create a sales invoice when your product is ready to be delivered. Okay, if your item is delivered, that's the time when you are creating and converting a sales order into a sales invoice. Once you issue the invoice, you send it to a customer and the customer will make a payment. And when the customer make a payment, that's when you record a cash receipt. Okay, so it has to go through this cycle, and the cycle could start from sales code, it could start from sales order, it could start directly from the sales invoice. If somebody comes to my store and they bought the item that I have in stock, I don't need to create a sales order. I simply start from the sales invoice. Okay, somebody place a order over the phone, you create a sales order. Once you deliver it, you create a sales invoice, and when you receive a payment, you record a receipt. So what we're going to do in this chapter is, or we're going to follow an example. We create a sales code, we convert the sales code into a sales order, and then we'll convert the sales order into a sales invoice. Okay, so let's start with the sales code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, luggage for you called me and say I need a sales code for 10 regular briefcase and 5 white briefcase. Okay, so the sales code is on March 5th. So first I change the session date to March 5th. As I mentioned, I like to change the date as the transaction goes. So I change my date to March 5th. Now I create a sales code. I'll say create a code and then select the vendor. It's luggage for you. And the code number already pops up because by default picks up the code number. If I tell you a code number, then you put that code number right here. If you know what the shipment date will be, you can put that in. So let's say assume that you want to deliver this on March 10, and then you're going to select the item. To select the item, you double click on this empty column right below the item number. So regular briefcase, 10 of this, and we are quoting him $95 per suitcase. And you can put a discount in a percentage, or you can override the price. Then I click on the second line, double click on it, and select the item which is white, 5 of them, and then the price I'm quoting is $115, sorry. Okay, so this is the price that I'm quoting him, and the term is 210 net 30. Okay, and we don't receive any cash, we say this is pay later. Now if I do eject the journal entry, there is no journal entry. Anytime we do a sales order, sales code, there is no journal entry. So you can look at the journal entry. To see the journal entry, what you do, I'm going to show you guys again. Go into reports, display the entry, or you can do Control J. And then there's no entry, but system will still record the transaction. Now to record it, we click record. So when you click record, the transaction was recorded successfully. See, it tells you that there was no entry created. That means that was not there. And press OK. Now that same customer, you send him a code and say, okay, you know what, I'm ready to place an order. So to place an order, you need to convert the same code into a sales order. So always remember, if you have created an item, you're always going to convert that into a next step. Okay, and the sale order took place on March 7th. So we change the session date to March 7th. Now whenever you want to convert, there's two ways you can do that. You can either go in, I'm going to show you guys both the method. You can either go into sales order and say create an order. When you create an order, you can click on this icon, the browser, and pull up the order that was created. See here, I click on this and pulled up the order number 103 and picks up the whole detail of the code that was created. Okay, so you can do that and say convert this sales order to a, so technically you don't do that, that's only if you're converting sales order into a sales invoice. So here we converted the sales order, pull that up, and now we're ready to record that. Now if you want to check the journal entry for this, Control J, still there will be no entry. So whenever there is a sales order or sales code, there is no entry. Now we record that as well. So as soon as you click record, it's going to say now this has been changed from code into the order. Once this is done, the change cannot be undue and the code cannot be changed back. Do you want to proceed? We can say yes. Now this transaction has been recorded and we close it. Now there's a commitment that the luggage for you is going to buy 10 of the briefcases, regular, and 5 of white briefcases. Now on March 10, you're ready to ship and create a sales invoice. Now to do that, there is again two ways to do that. You can either create a new invoice, or you can pull up the sales order and convert that into the sales invoice. So there's two ways. I'm going to show you guys both the way. So first I say find the order. So this is order number 103 and I select it. And now this is already there. Now you have the option to convert this into sales invoice. So you see this tab, when you click on this, it's going to take this sales order and copy all that information and create the invoice. This is one way you can do that. Okay, let's see if I can just show you and then disregard this. So this is when you do this. Now this has been converted into a sales invoice, and then you enter the detail as invoice number, the date, the shipment date, and if there's any changes with the delivery, how many you are being delivered, you can change those numbers here and then click post. Okay, so let's say if I was ordering 8 of these, we don't have the full regular briefcases, we're only shipping 8 right now, and the 2 will be back order. See here, it's back order. And then we can check the journal entry and say debit account receivable, credit sales, credit HST, and then also another entry for the cost of goods sold, which is debit cost of goods sold, and credit inventory. It combined both the entries together. Not that you have to worry about the journal entry, system will do the entry for you. Okay, and the status is pay later. That means it's going to debit the account receivable. So once you're happy, you click post and you post the transaction. So this is one way you can convert the sales order into the sales invoice. I'm going to disregard this because I'll show you the other way as well. Now, what is the other way? So the other way of converting the sales order into a sales invoice is you go into sales invoice and create a new invoice. Okay, and this is happening on March 10. So I have to change the session date to March 10 first. I could have done the same thing with the previous entry too, because it won't let me post the entry for the future date. Now go into a sales invoice, create the invoice, and then over here pay later, and select the customer luggage for you. Now you see there is no detail. What I will do is I'll look for that order. So see here, you click on this arrow and it's going to show you all the pending sales order, and you select 103 and pick up the detail saying this sales order had 10 briefcases regular and then 5 briefcases which is wide. Now how many are you shipping? We're shipping 8 of the regular ones at the same price that we quoted, and then 5 of the wide briefcases, and the term for the sales is going to remain same, 210 net 30. Okay, and then everything else looks fine. We're shipping on March 10 as well. If it's a different shipment date, we'll change that. Now we're happy to record the transaction. Before I record, I want to see the journal entry. Okay, that is my journal entry: debit account receivable, credit sales and the HSD, and debit cost of goods sold and credit inventory. And now I'm happy with the entry and I click post. And now you see this is the J1 that has been posted. So this is how you record and credit sales. Once the credit sale is recorded, okay, you wait for the payment to come in. Okay, but before the payment come in, you see that the customer called you, said the white briefcases, 2 of them were damaged. Okay, and he's returning those items to you. So that is a sales return. Whenever the sale return happen, you have to record the sales return in the sales invoice as well. So that happened on March 12. So we're going to do March 12. Change the session date to March 12, and now go into sales invoice, create the invoice. And now everything remains same, invoice, pay later. Now the invoice number. So whenever it's a return, what you want to do is you want to put the same invoice number and put RT at the end. That represents the return. And we select the customer, which is luggage for you. And we select the item that the customer is returning. We double click on it, saying white. Now the quantity, whenever we sell, we put the positive quantity. But now this is a return, you put -2. And then we want to make sure we put the same price that we charge the customer. So we charge 115. So you put the same price as a price for that item that we sold it for. And now here the account by default shows up the sales. Now this account need to be changed now to the sales return allowance. Okay, and the term has to be changed as well. The original term was 210 net 30. So and the original date was March 10. So the 2 days has been passed. So whenever the 2 days has been passed, what you do is you change the term and -2 days from the original term. So 10 minus 2 is 8, 30 minus 2 is 28. Now you click report, display the journal, and the entry will be the opposite. So be a debit to the sales return, debit to the HST, and credit to your account receivable. And then you click post. So this is how you do a sales return. So it is a basic chapter, so we are not going into the transactions which are more complicated. We are getting into the transactions that happens on a regular basis. A sales quotes happen on a regular basis, sales order happens on a regular basis, sales invoice happens on a regular basis, and if there's returns, it could happen as well, and that's how you do that in the sales invoice. And then once the sales happens, the customer is also going to pay you as well. So this customer, luggage for you, on March 20th is sending you a check for the net payment after the discount. Okay, remember he's eligible for 2% discount, so he's paying within the 10 days, which is on 20th of March. He's eligible to get a discount. Okay, so we're receiving the full payment for the outstanding invoices less any discount. So whenever you receive a payment, you record a payment with the receipt, and we click create receipt. When you create a receipt, first we need to change the session date to March 20th. Gives you a warning, you're changing the session date for more than a week. That's fine. Press OK. Now you click receipt and create a receipt. Now first thing is going to ask you a check number. So the check number that you receive a payment is 501, and the receipt number is the same as the check number unless your company has a different receipt number. And then you select the vendor who's sending your payment, luggage for you. As soon as you select the vendor, it will list all the outstanding invoices. See, this has 2310, 1508 is outstanding amount. This is discount available. Because he's within the 10 days, it shows up the available. Now, is he taking the discount? Obviously he is. So we put the full amount of discount, 2670, and then net amount goes up here. He also returned the item as well. So we have to subtract the discount on the item returned as well. And then we put the net amount minus 255 right here. So the net check received is 1481 minus 255.30 is 1226. And you can put a comment saying check deposited by DS. Okay, whatever comment I ask you to enter, whatever comment is applicable for that transaction, you put that comment here. And you click post. Before I post, I want to see the journal entry. So I can do Control J, or I can go into reports and display the journal entry. When I click on journal entry, see debit bank account, debit sales discount, and credit account receivable. Then you click post. And then you get a message, J3 has been created, and you press OK and close this. Okay, this is how you record receipts in account receivable. So this was a payment where the customer is making you a full payment. Now what else could happen is that you could be recording transactions on a partial payment. Okay, so as you see that Harvey Leather owes you $2,373, but he's making you a payment for a $1,000. Okay, and he sent you an email saying apply this $1,000 against outstanding invoices. Okay, but he didn't identify which invoices. So what you want to do is, in that case, you want to apply it in the order as it as a due. So to record a partial payment is nothing different. All you're going to do is just go into receipt and create a receipt. In this case, we select Harvey Leather. And we see that Harvey Leather owes us $2,373, which is invoice 2253. So when I click amount received, it's going to by default shows the full amount. But we did not receive the full amount we receive a check 1021 on 20th, but the amount is only 1000. So we put the 1000 payment right here, and then here we say check deposited by T. Okay, then I check my journal entry is debit bank account and credit account receivable right here. And if you're satisfied with the entry, you cross it and you click post. You get a confirmation that the G4 has been created. Okay, so this is how you do a receipt if it's a partial payment. Now what else that could happen? Okay, so let's assume that there's another sale happened, and that happens with Roy's luggage. Okay, and for that what we do is we go into and create an invoice on March 20th, and that's pay later as well, and we select price luggage, and this is not an order. The customer came in and they ordered the suitcase, and then he ordered 5 of it, and we sold it at $55 per item. Okay, now the terms are 210 not 30, nothing changes, we simply record the transaction. Now we click report display the journal entry, and we record this transaction. So you debit account receivable, credit sales, and credit the HST, and we're happy with that, and we click post this transaction. Now when they receive the invoice and they saw the amount that was charged on the invoice, and then they called you back saying, okay, well, this invoice that we had is not correct, and you called the sales manager and said that you actually issued the invoice for the suitcase at $55. Okay, and the sales manager told you, say, oh, it was a mistake, we're supposed to charge them $50 on this briefcase because of the verbal code that he provided to a customer. Okay, in that case you have two options. You can either void this and create a new invoice, or you can edit the same invoice. Okay, so now what you have to do is you have to edit the invoice and change the price to $50 versus 55. Now there are two ways you can edit the invoice. One, you can go find the invoice, or you can simply click on adjust invoice. I prefer to find the invoice first. So I'm going to say show me all the invoices from February 8th to March 20th. So these are the invoices. Which one do you want to change? I want to change 2311. I click on it. I cannot change anything because you're not in the edit mode. So now to change it, you have to click edit, adjust the invoice. When you click on it, now you can change whatever you want to change. So here we want to change the price to $50. Okay, now this has been changed. Now look at my journal entry again. It's debit account receivable, credit sales, and HST, and we're okay with that, and then we click post. Now you guys will notice that says two journal entries are created. So anytime you make a correction, it will always reverse the previous entry and redo the same entry with the new numbers. So that's why it's doing two entries. We said okay, that's fine, and we close the invoice journal. So that's how you can edit the sales invoices if you made a mistake. Okay, and obviously then you have to send those revised invoices to your customer as well. I think that was the main key things that we were supposed to do in this chapter. Now I'm not sure if this is covered in chapter 2a or 2b, but I definitely want you guys to show that as well. So the transaction that we were recording was mostly transactions on credit. You could also record a cash sales as well. Okay, for example, a customer came in and they want to repair the luggage they have. Okay, and what you do is you provide a service charges as well, so where your customer can come in and get a repair, and you charge X amount of dollars per repair per hour. Okay, so in that case, this customer came in and he did a paid you a cash as well. So now for those transactions, you have to record in the same place as well. So you go into sales and create an invoice. Now the only thing that you can change is from pay later, we're going to say is a cash. And if it's a cash customer, you don't have to create a new customer. All you can do is you can just type in the name, let's say Mr. John, and it gives you this message when you press tab, say, is it a one-time customer? We're going to say, okay, yes, it is a one-time customer. You want to put the address, you can put the address so it will show up on the invoice, but it's not going to save that in the profile. Then the date is March 20th. Here, that's the date. Here, the item. Now, if you look at double click on that, you see a list of all the items. There is a one here is a service item, which is minor repair. You select that. You say one item, and you're charging $50 for that. Okay. Is there a discount available on that? If you have a cash discount, you can put that in. If not, we leave it blank. And now we can look at the journal entry for this. It will be a debit to the bank account and credit sales and credit HST. Now you will see that there is no inventory or cost of goods sold account as well. The reason for that is a non-merchandise. So if it's a non-merchandise, you don't need to adjust your inventory. It's simply a sales transaction, no entry for the cost of goods sold or the inventory. And we close it. And now click post, and the entry has been posted. Okay, so that technically covers up the main things that are in account receivable chapter 2a. Now at the end, you want to see these transactions. There are different ways you can see those transactions, and all the reports that you find is under reports and under the receivable. Let's say March 20th we are done. I want to see how owes me the money and how much. I can still pull up the same report, receivables, customer, age, show me the detail for all the customers with the terms on March 20th. It shows up this report, and I can save that as an export and save it on my particular folder where I wanted to save. I can save it under the reports. Over here I'll create 02A, call this luggage, and then call this customer detail and save it. Okay, and cross it. So that's how you can print the sales customer age report. I can click on the receivables. If you want to print the pending sales order, you can do that by customer. It will show you any pending sales order if there are any. If you want to print the customer statement, you can do that here. If you want to print a customer sales, you can click customer sales and give the date range that you want to pull up the sales. You can do that as well. And then the other report that's important if you want to see the journal entries. So that's something that I always ask my class is once they finish their test or the assignment, I want to see the journal entries. So for that, you can click on journal entries and click all. It will show all the entries from different modules. And say, okay, I want to see from March 1 to March 20th. And I'm not going to uncheck the correction, so that I don't want to see any mistakes you did. So that one is only going to show me the correct entries only. So now you see that I will see all the entries from March 1 to March 20th. You see J1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. You see 5 and 6 are missing because remember we made an error and corrected it. That's why 5 and 6 are not showing, because 5 was the original entry, 6 was a reversal of that, and 7 was the correct entry. So it's only showing me the 7th, not 5th and 6th. Okay, and again you click export, save it as a PDF, and save, and you close it. Okay, now I want to show you guys the same report, journal entries all, journal entries all, and now I'll show you guys with correction. So anytime you do with correction, it will show you the mistakes as well. So here you see the J5 right here with $310, and then you see J6, which was a reversal of J5, and the correct entry is J7. So see that J7 is the correct entry and this was a reversal. So if I uncheck the correction entry, it will not show the mistakes. Okay, so that's the difference between a journal entry in a with the correction and without the correction. I think this wraps up your chapter 2A. It's a very important chapter, and it is something that you guys will see in your test 1, where I'll give you maybe a 1 or 2 sales order, and then 1 or 2 sales invoice, and maybe 1 or 2 sales receipt transaction. Okay, so it's important you understand how to record these transactions, and when you're doing the assignment for the test in the for the test 1, you know how to deal with this. Okay, so from this chapter, I definitely recommend you to complete all the exercise that's given right here. And if there's anything that is assigned as a homework, you have 3 different exercises, 10 exercises that you can do that as well. And I always recommend students, after completing a chapter, to at least try one of the challenge exercise. If you guys scroll down to the very bottom, there's a list of 3 challenge exercises we have. Clocks is there, walkers is there, so 2 not 3 is walkers and clock that you can do. Okay, and then this is the best way to practice is you're given a transaction, you'll read the transaction and record it. Okay, so this wraps up your chapter 2A, and if there is any question on this chapter, please feel free to message or contact me, or ask me those questions in our live lecture. Until then, take care everyone, and have yourself a great week. Bye.